Hello there. I'm in Newburgh and quite close to a spot that I started another video from. I think it was a video of a walk between Newburgh and Abernethy in that direction, having a brief look at the Mugdrum Cross and other things. There's something about Newburgh that has drawn me back. It's an ancient place, packed full of history, and it's in a lovely area of the country, and it's a combination that is very attractive for visitors, and certainly for me. I'm on the Fife Coastal Path, and the Fife Coastal Path is a long distance footpath that runs between Newburgh and Kincardine. It's about 114 miles. I'm only doing around 6 miles between here and Norman's Law, which is the largest or the highest hill in North Fife. It's about 285 metres, and I'm hoping we'll get some cracking views across the River Tay towards the city of Dundee. I mean, if you were doing a good bit of the Fife Coastal Path from here, your next stop would probably be Newport-on-Tay. It's about 18 miles away. I decided not to do that. That's easily doable, but because I'm filming as well, it takes me a little bit longer, and I calculated I would get in to Newport-on-Tay about 8 o'clock in the evening. I thought it's just a wee bit too late, so I'm just doing this 6 miles towards Norman's Law, where I'll end the video, and of course I'll be walking back that other 6 miles back here to Newburgh. We've got a lovely day. I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope you're looking forward to it too. Let's just go.
Get stuck in the corner. Fine. Yes, that's good. The person that wanted. Right. Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Right.
Just a Cornish pastry, please.
You want it hot or cold?
The cold's fine. A while before I eat it.
£1.60, please. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Right, thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Well, I love old bottles. Lovely display. I'm in the Lindores Abbey Distillery, not far from Lindores Abbey, or the ruins of Lindores Abbey. Just above the Bear Inn in the High Street in Newburgh, you'll see a carved stone, and it bears the image of a bear with a couple of staffs, ragged staffs, I think they're referred to. That stone was actually taken from Lindores Abbey probably hundreds of years ago, possibly when the row of buildings that the pub is in was built, a long time ago. And I sometimes think that that's why a lot of old buildings are in ruins, because once they became unoccupied, people pilfered the stone. A lot of the buildings in the High Street may have been constructed using some of the stone from the Abbey. That particular design or motive, the bear with the ragged staffs, it was a heraldic design used by the Earls of Warwick, and it is thought that perhaps the first abbot of Lindores Abbey may have been related to the Earls of Warwick, hence why he had that carved stone placed in the building in which he resided in the Abbey grounds. As I say, the Abbey is ruinous these days. In 1306, 3 knights met in the Abbey and vowed to defend Robert the Bruce and his crown for all time coming. I'm trying to think of the exact phrase used. You know, they would defend him to the death. And I believe that a couple of years later in Cambuskenneth Abbey, these 3 knights again met and made the same vow to defend Robert the Bruce and his crown to the last of their blood and fortune, or something like that. One of those knights was Sir Alexander Seton. And while I haven't looked into this just as much as I perhaps should have done, I think from what I understand, Sir Alexander Seton had lands in the Scottish borders. And during the Scottish War of Independence, when Scotland and England were knocking lumps out of each other, the Scottish borders was a dangerous place. And if that's where you had your lands, then you may have pretended to be on one side or the other in order to protect your property. And Alexander obviously had vowed to defend Robert the Bruce. But I think he had perhaps pretended to be on the side of the English, because at the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, Sir Alexander Seton was on the side of the English army. But before the battle actually took place, he moved to the Scottish camp and advised King Robert the Bruce on the best time to take the fight to the English. And it was actually a crucial bit of information that was important in ensuring a Scottish victory that day. But Newburgh is just an ancient place that is just bristling with history. And as we head on our way on the part of the Fife Coastal Path, just outside of Newburgh, we'll see another location where a great battle took place. Well, not far out of Newburgh, the views here are absolutely stunning. I can see back to Newburgh and the River Tay, just absolutely beautiful. I'm sort of between two thin strips of woodland at the moment. There's one just behind the camera and there's one over there, and you can see these on modern maps. You can compare that with older maps and get a good handle on exactly where we are. Just below that thin strip of wood, down there somewhere, is what used to be known as Wallace's Camp. Sometimes it was known as Wallace's Den. And in this general area, probably closer to this other thin strip of trees, was the location of the Battle of Black Earnside, which is a heck of a name for a battle. The Battle of Black Earnside. It was a battle between Scots and English soldiers. At that time, you're talking the Scottish War of Independence, the first one, where English forces were occupying Scotland, and Scottish forces, generally under the command of William Wallace, were doing their best to kick them back out again. This was apparently a small skirmish between a band of Scottish soldiers led by William Wallace and some English soldiers led by the Earl of Pembroke. Not a great deal is known about this battle, and the strange thing is that it's only shown on the first edition Ordnance Survey map, which I'll show you now. And on that map you can see it shows the general location of the battle, somewhere just over there. It shows the location of Wallace's camp, just down there, and another feature further in that direction called Wallace's Bridge. The strange thing is that it is only in the first edition Ordnance Survey map that there's any mention of the battle. In subsequent editions, it's just vanished, and I don't understand that. You know, it's not on modern maps. The only feature that has survived time is what's called Wallace's Bridge. There's absolutely no mention of the site of the battle or Wallace's camp. Now, you know, the first edition Ordnance Survey maps are about 1850s, and there clearly was some sort of oral tradition that suggested that that battle took place in this area. You've got three things mentioned: the camp, the site of the battle and Wallace's Bridge, which all come together to indicate, I think pretty strongly, that this was indeed roughly the site of that battle. And why it's not mentioned in subsequent and modern Ordnance Survey maps, I simply do not know. If anybody's got any thoughts on that, by all means drop me a comment. I'd be interested to hear about that. But we'll just carry on this path, the Fife Coastal Path, which is well signposted in the direction of Norman's Law. First sight of Dundee think the first thing to say here is that this nose, this red nose, is not as a result of drinking whisky at the Lindores Abbey Distillery. This is a nose that has arisen through the overindulgent squeezing of a spot on one's nose. If I was ever to give anybody any advice that I had accrued over my many years, wisdom to be passed down the generations, it would be to never squeeze your nose, because you just end up with a big red hooter. It's just a very quick chat today. In fact, that's probably it. My plan is to be on the top of Norman's Law by 3 o'clock, and that'll give me enough time to get back so that I can get into Newburgh for the last bus, which I think is about 6:25. As you know, I stay in Glasgow. I've got the train to Perth and a bus from Perth bus station to Newburgh, and that's the way I'm going to go back. But as I say, I don't want to dawdle here. I'm just going to quickly eat this. I'll carry on. I've still got a bit to go yet, so I'm slightly concerned. But if I don't make Norman's Law, I'll know roughly when to kind of turn back anyway, so I think I should be alright. But I would like to make it to the top of Norman's Law. I've already got a glimpse of Dundee. I think from the top of that hill we'll get pretty stunning views over the River Tay, as I said earlier, towards Dundee. That's the hope, so let's see how we go. I was going to sit in this rock, but I think I'd have been in the way. Oh, we can see it just behind me. Beyond that yellow field of rape is the Tay Bridge and Dundee. And just a few metres up there is the trig point of Norman's Law. We've made it. I didn't think I'd make it, to be honest. I almost turned back there. I knew I was going to be kind of pushed a little bit for time, but I thought I had a good hour to kind of play about with. But I think the problem is that I took too much video footage just coming out of Newburgh. It was stunningly beautiful, the views there. I just kind of wanted to capture it on video, and I think that took a bit of time. That's kind of eaten up too much time. I almost turned back, but you know, we've made it. Norman's Law, I think it was only called Norman's Law from about 1642 or something. Must have been some guy called Norman, lived somewhere. But prior to that, and I think maybe even today, its Gaelic name is Dun Mor. A fine name. There's an Iron Age fort on top of it, and a settlement. There's various hut circles here and there. But obviously I'm going to go up the few metres to the very top there, but I'm just going to say bye just now. It's been a heck of a walk. The views have been out of this world. And apart from a couple of guys I saw just outside the Newburgh, I haven't seen anybody else on the walk. Why, I don't know. It's just been stunning. I'm Eddie Burns. Take care, and I'll see you again.